She entered the high-end showroom wearing a pair of jeans, a soft gray t-shirt, and sneakers that had clearly seen better days. Julia Reed looked nothing like the dealership's typical customer. She walked in with quiet confidence, though. Scanning the luxurious lineup of cars, her attention landed on a sleek, midnight blue coupe gleaming under showroom lights. A sales associate across the room noticed her. Clark Weston, the dealership's senior sales manager, raised an eyebrow. With his tailored navy suit and crisp shirt, he exuded a practiced charm and superiority that many mistook for professionalism. He strolled over, giving Julia a quick once-over. "I think you may be in the wrong place," he said, voice coated in a smile that didn't touch his eyes. "These cars start at $300,000. Other staff glanced over, some smirking. Julia felt their stares but held her ground. "I'm looking for a gift," she said simply. "That coupe caught my eye." Clark's lips tightened. He gestured toward a set of glass doors. "Our pre-owned vehicles are in a separate facility, about 3 blocks east." Julia considered responding, but chose silence. She turned and left, her cheeks warm, not from shame, but from frustration. She'd seen this kind of behavior before. The next morning, at precisely 10:17 a.m., a customized Rolls-Royce Phantom pulled up in front of the dealership. The car shimmered in a chameleon-like finish, a special blend of midnight blue and amethyst tones. A white-gloved chauffeur stepped out, opening the rear door with precision. Victor Reed emerged, a tall, composed man in a charcoal suit, tailored so well it appeared effortless. His salt-and-pepper hair was combed back, his demeanor calm yet commanding. Conversations in the showroom stopped. Clark Weston straightened his tie and walked toward the entrance with the smoothness of someone used to high-end clientele. "Good morning, sir," Clark greeted. "Welcome to Aurora Prestige Motors." Clark Weston, senior sales manager. Victor nodded, accepting the handshake but not the flattery. "Victor Reed, I'm here regarding the Azure Coupe." Clark's grin widened. "Excellent choice, sir. One of only 15 made this year. I'd be happy to walk you through the details." Victor stopped him with a raised hand. "That won't be necessary. My wife came here yesterday to inquire about it." Clark blinked. "Your wife?" "Yes," Victor said. "Julia Reed. Wore jeans, a gray t-shirt. You told her she might be more comfortable at your used car division." The color drained from Clark's face. A nervous laugh escaped him. "Ah, there must be some misunderstanding. We welcome all prospective buyers here." Before Victor could reply, a young salesman named Ian, who had witnessed the prior day's encounter, stepped forward. "Sir," Ian said, voice steady but soft. Mrs. Reed was clear about her interest in the coupe. She was polite and specific. Mr. Weston refused to let her see the car and redirected her based on her appearance. Victor turned back to Clark. "My wife runs the Reed Foundation for Youth Development. She's helped raise over $50 million for education and rehabilitation programs. She chooses to dress modestly. It's a lifestyle she embraces. You saw her clothes, not her character." The dealership's owner, Elliot Bradley, had joined the group, sensing trouble. "Mr. Reed," he began, "I deeply regret any offense. I wasn't present for the full situation yesterday." Victor's expression remained calm. "Unfortunately, Mr. Weston's words and actions were very clear. I came to buy the Azure Coupe, as Julia intended. I was also planning to replace my company's fleet, 7 vehicles. But now I question whether this is the appropriate business to work with." The silence was suffocating. Clark began to stammer. "Mr. Reed, if there's any way we can rectify—" "There might be," Victor cut in. "My wife's foundation is hosting a benefit next month for an adaptive learning facility. We're seeking volunteers to help with event setup, assisting children, and participating in the day's activities." Clark hesitated. "As in, volunteering?" "Yes," Victor said. "Not as a guest, but as someone contributing time and effort. Think of it as continuing education." Elliot Bradley quickly agreed. "We'd be honored to support your foundation, Mr. Reed, and we will be implementing training immediately to prevent such experiences in the future." Victor nodded. "Ian," he said, turning to the young salesman, "I want you to handle the paperwork for the Azure, and if all goes well, we'll discuss the corporate fleet later." Ian blinked in surprise. "Yes, sir. I'd be honored." Victor gave one last look at the stunned Clark. "My wife has remarkable taste," he said quietly. resting a hand on the coupe's polished roof. And now, a clearer memory attached to it. A month passed. The gala, held in the Grand Maple Hotel, was a breathtaking evening. Families of children with developmental challenges mingled with donors and supporters. On the edge of the crowd, in a dark blue staff polo, Clark Weston helped a young girl in a motorized wheelchair navigate a ramp. Julia approached him during a lull. She wore a deep teal dress, understated but elegant. Clark looked at her with new eyes. "Mrs. Reed," he said, "I'm truly sorry for how I treated you. No excuse will ever justify it." Julia nodded. "Thank you. It was painful, but I'm glad you chose to be here." Clark exhaled. "Honestly, this month has changed me. These kids, their strength, their joy, it's been eye-opening." Julia smiled. "They do have a way of teaching lessons we didn't know we needed." Clark chuckled. "That's true. One of them's trying to teach me adaptive basketball. I'm terrible." Victor joined them moments later, his hand resting on Julia's back. "Clark's been mentoring Ian too," he said. "That deserves some credit." Clark looked stunned. "I'd love to continue working with your foundation, and I'd be honored to help with the corporate fleet if you'll allow it." Victor nodded. "Let's talk soon." That night, as the event came to a close, Clark watched the Reeds laugh with families and play with children. They didn't flaunt their wealth, they simply showed up, genuine, kind. He had once dismissed Julia based on a pair of jeans and an old t-shirt. Now he understood that true value never needed to dress up, it just needed to be seen. If you like to watch more lesson stories like this, please like and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell button too.